efforts in these education and all are interlinked in your journey towards reaching that ultimate goal. Now, your career is a goal which is associated in different forms. For some, it is status. Why you want to become a teacher? Because teacher has got a good status. Why you want to become a politician? Because politician might make me a minister. So I want to have some status. For some, it is just salary. How much will you get? For some, it is the growth opportunity. But career goal should be basically associated with the ultimate life motive. Otherwise, you can call it just a job. I'm doing something and I want to get some salary and something. So it has to get associated with ultimate life motive. That means doing something which I can enjoy. Doing something with my inherent passion in it. Doing something with a deep sense of joyful involvement in something that you do. So, efficient and productive work with peace of mind and joy in its fullness. Joy in its fullness. I just enjoy what I'm doing. And it becomes so joyful to me in its fullness. That is how I actually relate my career to. Something which I can joyfully do. And that being primary, let us look for status and salary and other things which actually will come along with it. So this is what is important when you're trying to look at your career goal, how it gets associated with the other part. Now, career building actually starts from a career path. I need to identify a path from where to start and how I will go. And the path is something which starts from your education, from your commerce program. Say, for example, if I want to become a chartered accountant, part of it has already started with your accounting. If I want to become a teacher, a part of it has started right from your UG program, then your PG program, then your NET, and then your selection process and so on. So I need to chalk out a path to reach that goal. If I want to become a civil service officer, if I want to become an IAS officer or an IPS or an IFS officer, the path starts from right now. I need to have certain elements of general knowledge, certain elements of reasoning, certain elements of general information along with my subject domain. And I'm going to take the prelims, the first examination after my graduation. So I chalk out a path to reach that goal. It's not that I finish all my UG program, I've done my UG or PG, and now I'm trying to look at what I should do. So the path is actually something which starts right at your education point. Now look at this. Up to entry, you have a basic education, you have a higher education, and you have a career entry. After your higher education, you're entering it. But at the time of higher education, at the time of the higher education itself, you start with entering into that particular career, which is your actual choice. Now look at this. I'm just given one example, which is my own example. I knew that my path entry to the job will start with an assistant professor. Subsequently, I need to move as an associate professor and a professor. So I have started thinking about it that to become an assistant professor, I need to have a UG program in my discipline. Then I need to do a MCOM program. Then I need to take the NET examination. And then I have to take an interview. So what are the skills which are required to crack that NET? What are the skills which are required to make myself a good professor? And how I need to pass out with good marks with my BCom and MCom. All this gets aligned when you're trying to move up on that triangular path. So that is what we're talking about, looking for a career path. Now, the factors which determine your career goal is basically, how do I know where am I good at? Because now we are so far we were talking about passion, working with a joyful mental frame, trying to enjoy what you're doing, so on and so forth. But how do I know what is my interest? At least some students keep thinking, where am I going to be actually really good? Some people say you'll be a good teacher. Some people say you will be a good actor. Some people will say you are a good professional. You might become a good chartered accountant. But I don't know whether I really like this, love this. So it comes from your interest, your likes and dislikes. That means it's not always what you like. It's also when you identify that something I don't like. And my linked competencies and skills. So let us look at this one. How do I know what is my interest? We basically know our interest when we involve in something. When I involve in interaction, I would like to know, or I would generally spontaneously know whether I love to communicate with others. When I deal with a lot of figures, addition, subtraction, compilation, classification of data, if I'm good at that, it shows that I'm interested in data compilation, additions and all. Perhaps I'll be good in accounting, costing. Some people find that very allergic, but they are generally good in interactions. When it comes to issues with people, motivating, counseling, mentoring, so that means they're good in HR. Some people are good in influencing, motivating, getting things done through others. So perhaps they are good at management and marketing. So this is how we actually identify our interest. How do I know what I like and what I do not like? That's what we now try to look at. Certain things I feel this is not something which is my passion. And there are good people who have built their career on that ground. We know of a very a literary figure in Kerala who is known as Professor Sukumar Arikode, who was known for his achievements in literature. But this man was initially a commerce graduate. Then after entering into a particular profession with the Staff Selection Commission and getting an appointment, he understood at some point of time that he's not very comfortable with that. Not that that job is wrong. If your talent is that, you should do that. But he understood that he wanted to do something in literature. Then he quit that and took up literature and went on to do that. So something which disturbs you, which brings some kind of an allergic feel to you, something which you don't like. And you're also trying to look at the linked competencies and skills. What am I competent in that? Am I capable in that? Am I skillful in that? My intellectual orientation, is it in that? And what is my outlook of life relating to that particular thing? So when these factors are known, you develop a like or dislike towards something. But remember, this essentially comes only when you get exposed to something. That's why I said some people like politics because they were exposed only to politics. Some people like sports because they were exposed to that. So the deliberate efforts that you make to get exposed to that will bring in you a feel to like it or to dislike it. Say for instance, suppose I'm talking about a profession like a lawyer. I need to know, what do these lawyers do? What are the kind of cases that come up? What happens in the content of LLB and LLM? How do you actually argue a case? Or how do you actually support in terms of legal advice? When I put my efforts to know that, then I might find, okay, this is not what I like. Or this is what I like. This is how you develop factors that determine your career goals. So we identify these factors in the form of inclinations, in the form of linkages, in the form of opportunities that exist through scanning the environment around you. I just keep looking at what are the opportunities today. The opportunities that are available for a teacher today and the opportunities that existed 40 years back are entirely different. 40 years back, the opportunity for a teacher was institutionalized. I can teach in one organization, in one classroom, students who come there. Today, in an open domain, there are lots of opportunity. In 40 years back, what was the opportunity for a chartered accountant, a cost accountant? It was only confined to the work that you can do in that area. Today, in a digital format with IFRS, your boundaries are very large. You can do many things even beyond. So I'm scanning the environment. I'm trying to look at the digital changes that have happened, the technological changes that have happened, the professional changes that have happened. I'm involving in that. I'm trying to identify whether I'm interested in it. So I have a like or a dislike. You need to have a like or a dislike. Something comes to you. This is what is being done under that. So immediately I should be able to have an instant response saying that, okay, this I like or this I don't like. And how do I do it? It is like the example which I used to give very common is it's like going to a restaurant. When I go to a restaurant, I have to make a choice on what I need to take over there. You go to an ordinary restaurant, the menu card is displayed before you, and somebody is coming and asking you what do you actually want. So I look at the card on the many things which are available over there, and I make a choice. I'm going to have, let us say, a masala dosha or whatever. How do you make that choice? You do not know how the dish in that particular restaurant would taste. You do not, suppose you're saying that you're going to make a choice of masala dosha. You do not know how the masala dosha of this particular restaurant will taste. But you have a conceptual understanding of what's a masala dosha. It would look like this, it would taste like this, it would have this features, it will have this color, it will have this flavor. And from all the dishes that were there in the menu, you make a choice. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is this choice could be made because you know about that dish or you know about that product in terms of some conceptual understanding. If that was not there, you could not have made a choice. Imagine you, instead of this restaurant, you go to a 7-star restaurant and a 7-star hotel, and a menu card is displayed, and 90% of the dishes that are mentioned in the menu card are not known to you. You have not heard about it, you have not seen it, you have not tasted it, and the hotel person comes and is asking you, what do you want? Then how do you make a choice? You have not heard about these different things. Now you might ask that person, how does it look like? Is it veg or non-veg? How does it taste? What is the flavor? You are putting in efforts to know the dish. And from that you are trying to understand whether it will be good or bad. So just like that, when I go closer to this particular career path, in terms of the entry-level qualification, in terms of the functions to be done, in terms of the responsibilities that will come, in terms of the assignments that will come, when I try and understand that, now I decide, okay, this is something which I would love to do, or this is something which I will not like to do. That is what we are talking about in terms of inclination, linkages, opportunities. I'm knowing more and more. So when I move slowly down the path, I try to understand more and more and more. And I go deep and deep into that path, and I build my dream into action. That is what is actually mentioned over here. So develop likes and dislikes. And to develop likes and dislikes, I'm saying develop likes or dislikes. You should not say that I have not made my decision, I don't know, I may take this, may not take that. So we are trying to become more sure on what is that you actually like or what is that you actually dislike. For that, we need to know. We need to know what is this whole profession or what is this whole vocation or what is this career path about. Then we need to understand how it actually works. It works in this format. It requires these skills. It gives this path from bottom to top. It will lead you from here to here. You might have certain add-ons which are required for that. That's what I said. I want to become an accountant. I'm learning some accounting. Now, accountant means what? Are you talking about chartered accountant? The accountant's a different level. And if that has to be done, what are the skills that are required? Then I learned that, okay, my basic accounting degree plus perhaps Tally new version plus Oracle Financials will make me that. So now I'm understanding, I'm knowing and understanding. Then I'm linking it to the self. Will you develop these skills within you? And when you understand that, you know that I'm saying, okay, I will do this, or I'm saying that, no, I will not do this, I'll do something else. So you're very clear on what you actually do. This is how we actually develop for ourselves a choice on what we want to or what we actually prefer to do. Now, when should career planning start? Most of you would be now in your undergraduate level, but in fact, it should start from something like your 8th standard onwards, or high school, at least high school level. Because one part of your path is actually starting from higher secondary. Say, for example, suppose you say that I want to become a doctor. After taking BCom, you cannot become a doctor. If your ambition or career path was to become a doctor, it starts from your decision to go for physics, chemistry, biology at your +2 level. Or you want to become an engineer. So that's why in many cases we don't have that kind of a planning. By default, we go for something and then we land up, and then that's why we are today discussing career in commerce, because we believe that by choice you have actually preferred this particular path. Now look at the path, the goal. You have your high school, class 10, then you have your plus 2 that is done with an objective, with the purposive mode to reach something. Then you have your career examination, you take your degree. After that, you have some career examinations like civil service or different career options. Then you do PG. Again, you have some career examinations after that. Your second level entry comes and slowly you move towards the goal. So if my goal is plus 2 degree, then career, or plus 2 degree PG, then career, and take the examination. So where am I planning to go? How am I planning to move is what the path is actually telling you. Now I'm to know of opportunities that are there for me. There would be tons and tons of opportunities which are available to me. It can be in research, it can be in teaching, it can be in professional practice, it can be in vocation, it can be in self-employment, it can be in business, it can be in skill-based kind of thing like animation, media studies. I'm talking about with commerce. It can be in editing, graphic work, acting, singing, anchoring, directing, programming. It all happens. Say, for example, those who study marketing, you can decide messages for ads. You will, if you have got some artistic skills, you could be a logo maker. And other things like your research, teaching, vocation, you know, like if you have good writing skills, you could be a content writer. If you have good communication skills, you could be an anchor in a business channel. You could also be part of some channels which are actually involved in creating material for the industry. You could be part of a terminal like something like Bloomberg. So you can know of opportunities that is actually existing. We have three types of entry qualifications which are known to you. Some are specialized and subject based, like say for instance engineering and medicine. So that will be one option. This is subject based, means anybody cannot go into it. Only those who have certain specialized subjects can go into it. Some are any subject based. Say for example civil service. Civil service has got specialization, but you can opt for any discipline in spite of passing in any discipline. Say for example, I am a commerce graduate, I can take public administration or history. So it is, you need to be a graduate. But it is not talking about which subject, you can be with any subject. And you can pass with one subject and take another option also. That's why many of the people who have passed in medicine have actually taken different options like public administration, history, can go in that form. So government jobs, banks and all are only talking about any subject-based entry. And there are certain other cases where any subject can enter, but there's a specialized continuity. Like chartered accountant, cost accounting, company secretary. It is not asking any subject for an entry level. But once you enter, you will be predominantly in finance and accounting if you are a chartered accountant. You will be predominantly in costing if you are in a cost accountant and so on. So any subject, the entry is any subject. So there are three types in which you actually entering into a particular path. So this is what we try to look at in terms of what is a career, how a career anchor is formed, how we have to develop a right goal, put our efforts, our education, our skills, our competencies, align with that goal and reach that. And we were trying to look at the different entry points. So that's in general about a career. Now we are trying to look at a career in commerce. Now when I'm talking about a career in commerce, it is so wide, so huge, so large that you cannot talk about all the options. So this is just touching upon the different peripheral boundaries into the ocean of opportunities that exist in commerce. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm not going into details. Say for example, suppose I take a lawyer or suppose I'm talking about chartered accountant. I'm not going in depth into one particular path. I'm giving you the general ocean of opportunities, and the key to it is how you transform. Again, the key to it as a graduate, from wherever you graduate, is how do you do the add-ons. Today under NEP or under any university higher education today, you have an ocean of options which are skilling programs, add-on programs which you do. And even the HEI, the college or the institution where you're actually learning, if they are not offering any add-ons, there are a number of add-ons which you can take from a Swayam open platform in an online mode. Say for example, in terms of data science, in terms of computational skills, in terms of soft behavioral skills. So where you plan to launch your career, in tune to that, there are certain skills and competencies which you can develop. When you put that along with your basic degree, you find that the basic degree becomes so strong. That is what we are trying to look at when we are talking about a career specifically for a career in commerce. Now, commerce education, past, present, and future. What I'm trying to tell you here is, commerce is a discipline which is not a separate, distinct body of knowledge. It's a mix of different domains. This was the reason why it was not very sought after at one point of time. People say, what is commerce? There is nothing which can be advocated exactly to that domain. It studies a bit of economics, but it does not have much of economics like BA economics. It studies a bit of marketing, but it is not in detail that of marketing. It studies a bit of law, but it is not something like LLB. It studies a bit of statistics, but it is not something like business statistics. It studies something of accounting, but it is not as advanced as a chartered accounting program. So it studies a bit of management, but it is not as advanced as perhaps a full-fledged program in management. So commerce has got statistics, it has got some mathematics, it has got some entrepreneurship, it has got some accounting, it has got some law, it has got some economics, all these things blended together. So that was the reason why they are saying, how can you say this is a discipline? It draws from different disciplines. That was the reason which did not make it very attractive in the past. But today, if you look at it, the industry, the professional bodies are finding this very acceptable because they are saying that this is the domain, this is the discipline where you can transform them into any action. You recruit good commerce graduates, they can be tuned because they have a bit of analytical skills, they have a bit of data compilation skills, they have a bit of legal framework into it, they have a bit of accounting capability. So once you recruit them, they can be trained and put into different functional domains. So that is why it is becoming so attractive and so sought after. And along with that, it has got an ocean of opportunities which we will see very soon. Now, when you learn this discipline, you have to learn it in three forms. When I'm saying the discipline, every functional aspect of commerce, or for that matter, any discipline for that matter, has got three aspects. One is its past, the other is its present, and the third is its future. The past talks about the theories, the concepts, the principles, the rules, the policies, and so on. Suppose we look at accounting, it has a past. We talk about the mathematician who developed the double entry system, Luca Paciolo, then the different principles of accounting, concepts of accounting, concepts of accounting. So this is a theoretical evolution. Then it has got a present form, the transformative form from where it existed at that point and where it is existing today. And then it has got a futuristic point. And what is that futuristic point? It becomes analytical, it becomes interpretational, it becomes application oriented, it becomes judgment based. Each of these terms need to be looked into very carefully. Again, suppose I talk about a principle of management by objectives. I would say this theory developed in this year, it was created by this person, it covers these issues, that is its past. The present is how it moves into the transformative mode. Now, where is MBO going to be applied in future? How do you judge the relevance of MBO in future? Let us look at accounting. What is accounting talking about? Fundamentally or theoretically, when you look at its history, it is recording. So you record, you journalize, then you classify, you do your ledger, then you prepare certain testing equipments like your trial balance. Then you arrive at the profit and loss account and balance sheet. So what it was recording, posting, classifying, testing, reporting the financial statements. That is the past, or that is what is being presently done also, but then the relevance of that in future has gone in terms of analysis. Today, nobody wants a commerce graduate to journalize, post, balance, prepare profit and loss account, because that has been taken care by technology. Technology will do all those things, but still they require good accountants who will analyze the financial statement, who will interpret the financial statement, who will look at the right applications of the financial statement, who have the skill to read the balance sheet and judge profitability, solvency, liquidity. So judgment, application, interpretation is more important in the futuristic perspective. This understanding should sink deep into you when we actually look at every module in commerce education. That is what empowers. That is what will identify certain skills which you require. I need to understand that in future this is going to be important. If that is why you are given certain inputs into how to have some research elements into it, how to have some quantitative elements into it. This is true for almost all whether you look at costing, whether you look at a cost sheet, whether you look at the tax implications, whether you look at GST, the future implications. And that future has got something to do with the environment. What is happening in industry? What is happening in the new models of entrepreneurship that is coming across? That is what we're actually looking into in commerce education. Now, some of the domains, a big opportunity unfolding in e-business. It can be, as I said, I'm only touching upon this. We don't have time to go in detail. E-financing, e-marketing, the technology-enabled processes that you have, HRM. And it gives an ocean of opportunities under e-commerce, buying and selling. Not just in the buying, selling process alone, in the emerging business models. What do you mean by the emerging business models? Conventionally, our business model was if somebody wants to set up a new enterprise or a new business, you look for all the factors of production. I need to have land, I need to construct the building, I need to erect the machinery, I need to procure raw materials, I need to procure all other inputs, I need to employ my human beings for the whole process, then I manufacture, then I assemble, then I sell, then I do after sales process, whole thing by the same entity. Today the emerging business models are, I might be having a core competency in something, but many of the parts which I require might be manufactured by somebody else. The assembling might be done somewhere else. The after-sales service might be given by somebody else. The logistics support might be given by somebody else. So all these parts are external opportunities. You might be a part entity in this value chain. You might be doing only the advertising part. You might be doing only the after-sales services, or you might be doing the advertising alone. Or you might be doing the assembling alone, or you might be doing the packing alone, or your business might be. So in one industry or in one firm itself, there are numerous opportunities which can go in the electronic form. And remember, time and space is not a constraint. I might be doing the services of some firm which is somewhere in some other part of the continent or even some other part of the entire world. Because I can do it from here. I might be doing grievance redressal, or I might be doing some kind of a marketing, advertising, logo production for some firm which is somewhere else. I might be doing some support service in terms of creating content for somebody, or I might be even teaching and delivering something for somebody else who's somewhere else. So somewhere in the value chain, right from production to after sales service, there are numerous opportunities because of it. Can even be in electronic accounting services that you do, the financial services that you do, the merchant banking services that you do. Opportunities are there in all these sectors, which is very huge for commerce graduates. But it's not exclusively reserved for you. Others can also enter into this domain in a very competitive environment. So we need to know of opportunities in finance, marketing, professionals, general careers are and so forth. In finance, look at the opportunities. It's very huge. As I'm saying, I'm just touching upon it. Whether you're talking about accounting, if you're talking about auditing, internal auditing, auditing for different segments, social auditing gender, even happiness audit for that matter. So auditing is so diversified. It's not just financial audit. Taxation, direct, indirect, tax planning services, documentation, generating returns, supporting returns, financial services, all kinds of financial services, huge financial services that you have. The banking sector, insurance sector, capital market operation, mutual funds, portfolio management, wealth management. So these are only terms. Under this, there are so many sub-segments which gives you opportunity. Where is your interest? Where is your like and dislike? Where is your passion? In terms of the education that you have received, in terms of the connecting the dots between education and happenings in the industry. I learned something in banking and I'm trying to look outside what is happening in terms of banks, what is happening in terms of the capital market, what is happening in GST, what were the latest decisions in the GST Council, what has happened in terms of the capital market or the swing that took place recently. I am linking and connecting the dots. There I understand that this is what I like, this is my passion, this is what I do not like. Here I look at a career option. Same thing in marketing. Your e-business models, global commerce, voice commerce, social shopping, advertising, branding, these are just some examples. I look at what is happening over there. What is the whole value of digital transactions which are taking place? How are they increasing? Where are they expanding? Where are they contracting? How are they moving? So these are things which are going to give me certain things where I believe that I will be good or I might not be good. So also professionals, I want to become a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. How does an examination take place? What happens in each group? When is the examination held? And when I understand that, I can find what are the opportunities available, how is it going to grow, what are the emerging roles which exist for a chartered accountant, a cost accountant, and a company secretary. You understand that something is more oriented towards accounting, another one, company law, is more oriented towards corporate laws. And there are other professions like ACCA, certified public, certified financial analyst, so on and so forth. They all have their own openings. And for you, the world is has changed so much that this career orientation basics that you can get from these sets are on your fingertips. You just search opportunities, CA, ACCA, CFA. You get what is the institute, when is the examination held, what are the opportunities. Now you try to link with yourself, just like sitting in a restaurant and looking at the menu book. And when you know more about it, you develop your passion and your interest and you try to match and build up with that. And then you relate it to your education and try to grow up on that line. Entrepreneurship, huge ocean of opportunities again there. You look at what is happening in Skill India, startup missions, so much of funding, crowd financing, venture capital financing. So if you have a good idea on developing a product, developing a service, which is needed by somebody in some part of the world, need not be essentially in your vicinity, you can transform that idea into a product or service. You can have micro, small, medium enterprises there. That is what is happening. You can work in the hub and spoke model. You can do agency services. As I said, you can look at agency services. Say, for example, somebody is manufacturing, a large-scale multinational corporation is manufacturing a product. But they might require an agency service or a support product or an assembling part, which you as a micro enterprise can do sitting from whatever corner you are in. But you need to know what is that product, what is that idea which can be transformed into good entrepreneurship, which finds value in a particular setting. Now, what are the other opportunities? I'm not looking at this, I want to do research. Now you're in an intellectual property format. I'm using the data, I'm trying to give new knowledge into a domain. Or I want to become a good teacher or skill-based things like this. So the variety of opportunities that exist. Now, your entry can be, as I said, any subject which we saw earlier, or it can be with a specialized domain, or it can go with entry at any level and specialized in subsequent options. Your BCom is a generic degree. It supports career building in all these options because some basic inputs have been infused into you. A bit of accounting, a bit of costing, a bit of law, a bit of statistics, a bit of quantitative analysis, a bit of entrepreneurship, a bit of capital market. So BCom plus desired skills, that is very, very important, and that is very, very easily accessible today. I look at your academics. My academics is giving me some inputs in capital market, plus some skills from the National Stock Exchange. They have their own skilling programs. Will make me something different in the capital market if capital market is my choice. My BCom accounting with certain add-ons, with certain desired skills on interpreting financial statements will make me something different if my path is an accounting. My marketing taste, along with certain skills in digital marketing, perhaps will make me a different person with that add-on. But that basic theoretical part standing alone perhaps might not empower me. Today, that's what I said, either through the electives in your college or through the electives in SWAYAM, you're trying to link up with that particular skills which are required. That means what I'm trying to tell you is the BCom courses that you do are diversified in different levels, some of which are accounting, marketing, HR. Try to see which among this is getting associated with your passion, which among this is getting associated with your career choice. Is it capital market? Is it accounting? You're studying several things, 20, 30 courses you might be covering. If you say that out of this, say accounting is my choice, or say marketing is my choice, or say HR is my choice, or say analytics is my choice, then you look at that plus desired skills, the additional competencies which go with that, and you do it. That's why I said maybe business analyst, it goes in that form. And the degrees today are so diversified in that form. Look at this. This I've talked about a diversified programs which we have. Just giving our own example. MCom diversified at Department of Commerce. So earlier it was like we used to have just one. MCom means finance and accounting. And any BCom person or BBA person can enter. Today we have an separate MCom program in global business operations. We are looking into international trade. Now the objective here is to look at more at the industry. We are having an MCom with blue economy and maritime law, which is basically focusing on foreign trade, documentation, managing business and trade through ports and so on. Blue economy, the coastal zone that we have. And we have an MCom which is focusing on the rural management part. So in place of one single path, we are giving different multiple choices. And some of these MComs like rural management and blue economy is open to person with any degree. So we are in the process of now doing this. If you look at our website, you will see that admissions are open for this. Similarly in other institutions also. What I'm trying to say is commerce itself is getting diversified and it is becoming more flexible, more accessible, more inclusive. For us in the University of Kerala, you can still apply up to the 15th of this month. If you go to the site, you can see this and you can go to there are other institutions where you can develop a path. You can also develop a path in civil services. And as I said, it's not just IAS. It is foreign service, police service, audit and account service, revenue service, economic service. You have around 1,000 plus posts. And what do you become? You can aspire to become collectors, secretaries, MDs. You are part of policy making because the government basically takes all its ministries through their secretaries and the chief secretary finally. What is the entry? You start with any degree and you have the test, the preliminary, the final, the interview. So its parts are basically divided into a language component, general awareness, reasoning, and you would take an option. So any graduate can go for this, but you can engage in this form. And you also have a Kerala administrative service in the state. Similar other states can have their own administrative services. So again, teaching research, it can be school teaching where you're a high school assistant or a trained graduate teacher, or for commerce, basically, they have it only at the +2, so you become higher secondary teachers. But then in that case, in place of net for the college, you will have to have set at the higher secondary level. Finally, you want to become a college or university teacher, you have to look for PG net. So these are just some of the opportunities which exist. Each of these opportunities has its own emerging challenges. Say, for example, teaching today is not what it was teaching 10 years back, 20 years back. A profession of a chartered accountant, a profession of a civil service is also changing in that form. But commerce actually gives you these options through which you can actually build yourself. Research is talking about all these options. When you have your net and your entrance examination, you can even think of research in IIMs, IITs, IICs with your commerce. Even IITs have got research in commerce, although it is an institute in science. So you have a lot of integrated programs, degree, PG programs, which are talking about the opportunities in research. So what is important to come to a conclusion? It is actually examining if you are in a track. What is that track? At the destination, you have the goal. You know where you are today, and you're running through that track to reach that destination. A goal plus a track is vital. Not just having a goal and you're not in the track. If you're not in the track, say for example, I want to become a teacher. I'm saying I want to become a college teacher. But while pursuing BCom, at some point of time, I'm not able to get the desired mark to enter into MCom. Or I finish my MCom, but I fail. I can't take my net. So I'm losing myself. I'm moving away from the track. So add continuously to keep you on a track. That's what I'm saying. I want to become a good practicing accountant with the digital technology. So accounting with these things I do, the digital part. I want to become a good marketing expert. So I do marketing and I take digital marketing or data analytics as an add-on, and I'm moving in that path. So I'm on track. Otherwise, you will see somewhere down you're losing and then you make compromises. I wanted to become this, but somehow that is not possible. I failed in that examination, or I did not get admission in this institute, or I'm not able to have. That is what happens in many. You might still, build up a career, but might be in a different option. So, for example, all those who prepare for civil service, they prepare very well, dedicated, committed, hard work. But sometimes if it does not reach the path, with the experience that they have in their training, they can get into some other option, which might have a near to your career goal. So continuously keep you on track. Keep your goal might be right, but you might not fail to attain it if you don't get certain things like your qualifying marks, entrance, and final interview. So to be on the track, I should see what is that I need to get, what efforts I need to put, how I should get the qualifying, how I should enter the entrance, how I should reach the final interview, so on and so forth. So going off track will close some windows. Suppose I don't get the desired mark, some institution I'll not get admission. Or I get admission to the institute, but I'm not concerned about my skills, I'm again moving out of the track. So some windows gets closed, some institutions gets closed, some options gets closed, your goal will shrink. So if you go off track, your goals are likely to shrink. So we need to be on track in terms of how you plan your career, how you look at the right education, how you look each time at skilling myself, strengthening myself. You have huge options for that, and you are on track on that case. So this is the path which we earlier saw. We are moving by that. I'm not spending much time on that. Focus on options, develop that goals. That is what we actually look into. And finally, what are we trying to look at? We are trying to enjoy the achievements that we get in pursuance of the hard work, in pursuance of what I wanted to become. Only then it is joyful. If you get something unexpected, it is not very joyful. Just come, yeah, you might have a joy, but it might be instantaneous. But then this, I wanted to be something, I put my efforts, I went on that line, I did all that, and I reached there.